Why, in your opinion, is pricing low a bad idea?
So yeah, definitely there are like people who disagree with me, and I think that pricing low, it can be a strategy that works. But in my opinion, I think that this was a strategy that worked really, really well when there was a lot less competition on a place like Amazon. So back then, there weren't tons of listings for like particular niches. And so if you sorted by lowest, there's a good chance that your product is going to land on one of like the first or second pages if you sort by lowest, if you're doing that low pricing strategy. Now, I think that there is just so much more competition on Amazon that if you're pricing with the lowest price, you're also competing against like hundreds of other people who are also pricing with that lowest price. So now, if you get discovered, not only are you not making any profit on that item that you just sold, but you're still having to make a design that like is beating out all of these other people that are pricing items as low as possible. So I just kind of started going for the strategy like I'm just going to go ahead and try to create items and designs that are already doing something different than everyone else in this niche so that when people are scrolling, they have a reason to pick mine. That's not just because it was like on the last page, the lowest priced item. Because I think for this strategy to work, you're still going to have to try and stand out and do something different. So why not actually make profit? And then, like a side thing is sometimes I feel like pricing your items at $13.99 when like most of the first page best sellers are priced closer to like 20, kind of like can make people feel a little off put, like, oh, what's wrong with this shirt when they were expecting to spend like $19.99 and then this is like $13.99. Sometimes I feel like that can seem like a little off putting. But yeah, I'd love to hear more of your thoughts too
Yeah,
on
yeah,
what
those
you
are definitely
still.
compelling points. It makes sense that there is that kind of customer who wants to just get the cheapest possible. They will sort by cheapest first and not be bothered about buying a 1307 shirt or whatever it is now. But at the same time, some people will see that cheap price as, a worse quality option, even though they're all the same t-shirts. Customers don't know it, right? So if they have the choice between two similar designs, one is really cheap, the other is more expensive, they might assume, okay, this is going to be a better gift because the price is higher. So yeah, that makes sense. And I think you also had a really good point in one of your videos saying that some people, when they're looking for gifts, they look for that $20 mark, $20 to $30 gift. That kind of seems like a reasonable, still affordable, but not too cheap. And that I think makes sense as well. That some people will be put off because it's not gift worthy and not expensive enough, if that makes sense, to be a gift.
Yeah, and I think the beauty of like print on demand too is we are creating these really like hyper specific things. So a lot of times, like even when I'm personally shopping, if I'm looking for a gift for somebody, if I'm like, oh, this shirt is like, it says the perfect thing for them, if it's like $5 more than another shirt that's maybe a little bit different but not like the perfect phrase or the perfect design, I'm like, oh, that's totally fine, this one fits them. So I think a lot of people, they find something they like, and if it's like within like a plus or minus $5, that doesn't really matter when they're buying a gift, I think, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, to a lot of people it won't. So do you always just price at 19.99 to begin with, or do you sometimes start at like 17.99 to give a slight incentive? Or
Yeah, that's a great question. So I priced pretty much at 19.99 across the board for several years, and then recently I just start everything at 21.99 is kind of like my new starting price, which I know a lot of people, they have the strategy like price a little bit lower and then once you get sales kind of move that up. But for me, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to go with that strategy that if someone likes mine, they're going to buy it. And so I've been doing the 21.99 strategy, and that's been working pretty well for me. So I don't know about you. What do you typically start your items at?
since well, I started at the beginning of my journey, typically pricing lower and doing the incremental increasing price. Then, as soon as I got higher into the tiers and more design slots, I thought, yeah, if I'm uploading thousands of designs, I might as well price them higher, actually make a profit. Doesn't really matter if the odd sale doesn't end up happening because I have all of these slots free anyway.
Right.
Recently, I've tested again because that's kind of been my strategy for like a year or two. Now I've tested again, starting with a lower price to see if it makes a difference. and I have noticed some designs selling more quickly. But again, you run into the same issue where you sell it for like 80 cents or whatever, or a couple of dollars. You price it up, and then it might never sell again. So it's a hard one to pin down exactly what's the best strategy. But I like the idea that, you know, maybe if the cheap pricing isn't working for you, try $19.99 to begin with, or even more expensive.